So we're just going to go into some best practices, excuse me, with the few minutes we have left. So there's a lot of stats on this slide, but just wanted to give a little bit of context in terms of how we see global as well as domestic video adoption. And what I'll point out here that's really meaningful to us, over half of global video traffic is from a mobile device. And then one of my favorite statistics that I think really speaks well to the conference today, and this came out of Google a few months ago, 90% of consumers start a task on one device and complete it on another one. So obviously it's really important to make sure there's a seamless brand experience across all of your touch points and all devices. So I'm going to take you through just a few best practices. The first we're going to talk about is cross-screen. So obviously encoding the video in a universally optimized format was the first and foremost in terms of the number one thing that we really look towards to launch this campaign. Things like optimizing the site speed on the landing page, integrating social share buttons within the video asset as well as on the landing page, and then obviously really focusing on the user experience on a small screen and real estate first so that you can always optimize for desktop and larger screen sizes. Next, SEO. So I'm sure a lot of the people in this room know that based on recent changes to Google and some of the other search engine algorithms, that 7 of the top 8 ranking factors are social signals, which means that it's much more democratized search landscape, and brands have a really amazing opportunity to be a lot more efficient with their social media and content spends when they're looking at it with an SEO lens. So a few best practices as it relates to SEO. As Junko mentioned, we did a ton of research before even scripting this video to make sure that we were incorporating all of the high-value keywords, key phrases, long-tail keywords, not just based on the product, but also based on the benefits, so that we could seamlessly integrate all of the top keywords we would want to use within the asset itself. Some other best practices, just being really smart about naming. If you have, the nice thing about this video is it was embeddable anywhere, so on a brand blog, on a lot of different types of channels. So by creating kind of consistent naming across the title, across the blog post that's supporting it, across that landing page itself, you can actually come up multiple times on one search engine results page. And finally, Google+. A recommendation for e-commerce sites at the country level to have their own local Google+ page that can really support local search on mobile. And finally, just some influencer pro tips. As you can see from the campaign and Junko speaking so eloquently about Kelly, she really did embody kind of the Maybelline brand ethos of using fashion trends to inspire your complete look. Kelly really did a lot of heavy lifting for this campaign, so certainly recommend that when you're working with influencer partners, you're making sure that they're agreeing and making sure that they're really leveraging their built-in audience, and then obviously co-creating that content alongside the influencer. And I think that's something we see not necessarily done a lot, kind of brands handing over content to influencers and asking them to share it. As you can see with this asset, we really made the video about Kelly. She was the spokesperson. She did all the styling. She was really involved in terms of translating what she was seeing on the runway into the actual trends that ended up making the video. And finally, just a quick mention of FTC guidelines when working with influencers. Obviously, here in the US, we adhere to the FTC. In all of the different countries, they really adhere to their own local guidelines. So obviously, it's really important to make sure those are followed.